pedestrians run over her in San Antonio.
Well, I mean, it does happen, but also officers who are upset will threaten your jaywalking thing. I mean, that happens. Look, you don't do what I do without making some officers angry. At the same time, 80% or more of the officers that I speak with afterwards, honestly, they go, hey, that guy's not bad. He's not out here clowning us. He's not making us look bad. I had a good interview with Sergeant Garay on the south side of San Antonio.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a tactical medic. We had a lot in common. I'd worked on a shooting victim in, I think it was 95. It may have been 95 to 98 in a bar. Mm-hmm. And I was concerned because police weren't coming in, ambulance wasn't coming in. I'm like, why the hell?
Have the TAC medic then.
No, they didn't start them up at that time. And I'm sorry, not 95. It was 2005, and they started in 2009. I thought they started in 2010, but I'd talked with them. Yeah. But I mean, interviews like that where people see officers doing good things for the community are important for people to see as well. Okay. And like I said, I mean, the little things like wordage and stuff on signs.
Yeah, that verbiage is in all the.
It's hard because again, I mean, and that's why I say, you know, Lieutenant Lopez looks right at the sign and says, I know what I'm talking about because it says no weapons allowed.
No.
And I'm saying.
There's a big maybe in there.
Yeah, and I'm saying, look, just 2 weeks ago, the city attorney called you guys and told you this was a public lobby and I could film in here and that I could carry in here. And now you're still telling me the same thing. So where's the disconnect? And this sign is part of the problem because, again, it's how people read it. Yeah. Versus what the intent is. Because again, if B and C were on here, because 411-207 is just, it's the authorization for peace officers to disarm anyone, anytime. And so A doesn't apply, but B and C do. But of course, they don't put B and C here or explain it. And who's going to look that up? You're not. You're not going to need to.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, yeah.
You've obviously read it. I haven't.
Right. And again, it's one of those things, you know, a lot of people do post negative things. They say, well, why are you harassing the cops over a sign? I said, look, to me, it's not harassment. To me, it's education. To me, it's important because if one less victim gets told they can't do something or one less right is violated because an officer knew, then I've achieved a great thing. That goes back to the other thing, the central substation. The sergeant said that he didn't want me filming in there, and when it got back, his wording, he said the reason was because there was a rape victim in the lobby.
That's reasonable.
That is reasonable. However, I'm gonna say flat out there wasn't one there. I documented.
Well, that would be a reasonable reason not to, but you shouldn't be sitting in the lobby.
Well, here's where I brought that up, and I explained to the lieutenant. I told him very clearly. I said, well, your front desk Jen, she sees me all the time. I come in here probably at least once a week. She's like, oh, you're the only guy I don't mind because you're always polite. You know, I don't film non-government employees. I just don't. There's no reason for me to do it. I used discretion. When I was at the West Side 2 days ago, there was a female in there. I turned my body camera away when the sergeant came out to talk to me.
Do you walk everywhere you go?
I used to drive. I don't drive right now. I have seizures and I can't drive. So
I get. But you didn't walk all the way up here, did you?
Yeah, it's not too far.
Good exercise.
12 miles. I used to be in the Army. I walked all the time.
Okay. Well, walk for a living.
But there's a lady in the lobby on the west side. But where I was getting at, Lieutenant Zuniga said, well, there's a rape victim, and how would you feel if your mom or your sister? And I was like, hold on, Lieutenant. I know what you're saying, but here's the problem with that. That's not on me. That's on you to provide that rape victim privacy. And the light bulb just snapped in his head. I mean, you could see it like, wow, you're right. Mm-hmm. And after he talked to the city attorney, he called me back the next day. I was really grateful for that. And he said, you know, I brought up a couple of points. I said, well, you know, I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm calling BS on what you're saying about him saying there was a rape victim. I know there wasn't. There was someone in the lobby earlier. I didn't record them, but when he came out, there was nobody in that lobby for 10 minutes. But your point and what I was saying, he's like, no, you're right. In the future, we're going to make sure we take victims into the back, into the secure area. And I'm like, that's what you should have been doing to start with. I didn't say it. I'm like, excellent.
Well, it could have been other reasons. It could have been a walk-up victim.
Right.
They don't know that's a victim until they talk to an officer.
And
there's
yeah,
reasons.
no, I mean, there are. And again, people who do similar things to what I do, a lot of them are jerks. I know that. I see the stuff on YouTube. You got guys who, for a while, they go out and safety check police cars. I understand what they think they're saying. Oh, we're making sure our government property's locked. And I'm like, you morons. You know, I'm sorry, but if you really want to make sure it's safe, just stay there and film it. If someone breaks into it, then turn the film into the officer. Don't go opening up the door.
All right.
I mean, you got people that do that. You got people who go around.
Glad you're not that guy.
Well, I was at the West substation, and the guy told me, yeah, a guy came in here before wearing a clown suit, saying, why can't I wear a clown suit? You guys are clowns. And I'm like, those guys are doing that to get attention or whatever. And don't get me wrong, you know, I post bad things, I post good things.
I'm about done. I got
I post good things, I post bad things, you know, and none of my good videos get very many views. It's because they don't draw.
How do you look them up?
It's under my name. I don't advertise or anything. It's Tory Reese, Toryries.
So how many hits you get?
YouTube? I only have about 100 subscribers, which isn't a whole lot. Probably about 50.
Oh, you have subscribers?
Yeah, I have people who and I only started this after the city told me that there was no body camera from the incident I had with Sergeant Ling. When he told me I couldn't film, but I'd recorded it all, I was upset about that. But you know,
well, I don't have one issued. We have video here.
Yeah, no, don't get me.
Me and you are just talking.
Right. No, don't get me wrong. He had on body camera. I knew he did. Internal Affairs gave it to the lieutenant. They're like, well, we don't have it. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm getting the runaround, and I'm not even trying to get the guy in trouble. So I documented that and posted a short clip on that, and it got, like, to me, a lot of hits. You know, 1,000 hits in a day versus.
People are curious.
Yeah, and versus, you know, like I usually get, say, 1 hit, 2 hits from a friend. You know, oh, he posted something new, they watch it, no big deal. Like I said, most of my stuff is educational, but it's long and boring. And I mean, that's
you
like.
You post this one?
Yeah, this will.
I'll look myself up.
To be honest with you, it'll probably take at least a week and a half for me to get it up. What I do, I go back, I have to sit down and put all the raw footage into a saved server. Then I have to edit it. And after I edit it, then I start making sure that there's nothing, in the process of editing, I make sure there's nothing in it. For example, a victim walked by, little things like that. I have a conversation with Captain Garcia I haven't released just because it's not a good time to do it as far as, and this will get edited.
Well, I got a roll call to go to.
No, I understand that.
I know what you're pointing out, now we'll figure it out.
Right, and again, this one on the outside, just check with the city attorney. They're probably aware of it.
That double negative makes that sign confusing.
Okay.
It makes it, in my opinion, a little compliant, but I haven't read the new law.
Right.
My understanding, you can walk in here with a gun.
That is, and if you're.
I'm not going to disarm you unless I can articulate why.
Exactly, and that new law will be 411-209.
Okay.
We'll post the requirements for these signs as well, in case you want to look it up if you have an issue.
Stop by anytime?
I typically, if I have a good interview, and no offense, this was a good interview to me, I typically don't stop back by the smaller substations for at least a month, just because I will be back by right after the first, just documenting if signs are still up at every substation. But
I can't go and actually replace those signs. So
I know you can't.
Stuff moves slow sometimes.
I know you can't.
And I'll make sure they know.
Right. And again, I'm proactive. I've let the PIO know. I've let Captain Garcia know, hey, look, I'm telling you this in advance for a reason.
Okay.
There are people that will try to sue the city. So I'll be back out on